Greetings, everyone. We are live again. We are live. Today's Wednesday. Today's Hump Day. This Hump Day afternoon, y'all. We got my brother Obstacles, Opportunities, our brother Sean on today, and we're gonna get into the topic. But before we do that, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Again, like, share, and subscribe. And also, let me go ahead and share the screen, guys. This is the official announcement for the tour for Sierra Leone. Again, this is the official announcement for the tour to Sierra Leone. Let me go ahead and post that. Let me go ahead and do it like this. Hold on, I got all these widgets, right? That comes with you know, the with StreamYard. Let me use some of these widgets. You know what I'm saying? You understand me? You undersmell me? Let me use some of these widgets real quick. Hold on one second. Let me see what we got here. So, tour, these are the tentative dates. Obviously, they have not announced the official ceremony, but word on the street is going to be end of November, early December. So, let me go ahead and put this up here. Oh, hold on. Let me do it like that. Hold on one second. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. Okay, Okay, let's do it like this. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure they see this. Okay, I just got to share the screen. Let me just go ahead and share the screen real quick. So again, guys, we have officially announced the tour for Sierra Leone. So come and join us, family, in Sierra Leone. Right now, the tentative dates are November 29th to December 7th, but that is subject to change once they announce the official ceremony date. When I say ceremony date for citizenship, you will be you if you qualify. I mean, you're eligible for citizenship. So step number one, get your DNA test done through African ancestry. Don't call me Dynast. I got 23andMe. I got ancestry.com. They're not accepting that. It has to be African ancestry. Okay. So you have not taken an African ancestry DNA test. You need to go ahead and do that right now. And if your results from either your maternal or paternal side come back to one of the tribes from Sierra Leone, you are now officially eligible for citizenship. After that, you're gonna need a background check, and then you have to come with a licensed tour operator, which I am. I am licensed and registered in Sierra Leone. So if you are interested in rolling to Sierra Leone with us, hit me up, let me know. Go to searchforhuru.com, drop me a message so you get all the details. So we're going to add a yoga component to it. So I'm bringing our sister Zinga with us. She's going to be teaching yoga. We're going to be yoga on the beach, yoga on river number 2, which is my favorite beach, my most favorite beach on the planet, river number 2. We're going to be doing yoga there. We're going to experience the culture. We're going to have a good time. And hopefully, now this tour isn't just limited to those who are interested in citizenship. If you just want to come to Sierra Leone and have a great time, this past tour I just did in April, out of the 17 people, only 4 people qualified for citizenship. Other people just wanted to come to Sierra Leone and have a great time. So if you're interested in coming to Sierra Leone and just having an awesome time, enjoying the culture, the food, the beauty, and also some yoga from an awesome yoga instructor, Sister Zinga, by all means, come and join us. Go to dynastybird.com or go to searchforhuru.com. Send me a message, and I will get back to you with all the details for the tour. So just wanted to announce that. So thank you very much, you guys. And without further ado, we have brother Obstacles to Opportunities on with us. And we're going to be discussing, and Sean, you might, and I want to jump right into it. We're going to be discussing what can Africa learn from China. But Sean, I have a question for you, and hopefully you are in a position to answer it. How much because this is the second time somebody brought this up. I was listening to Jason Whitlock this morning, right? and then I was talking to somebody a couple of days ago, and they were speaking on how much China controls or is going to soon control here in America. And they're making it seem like it's deeper than just real estate, because China owns a lot of real estate here in America. They were making it seem as if it's gonna come to a point where China might control our everyday lives here in America. Sean, can you first introduce yourself, but can you touch on that a little bit, possibly, if you got the answer sway? If you got the answer sway,
you ain't got the answer sway. Can you hear me good on the mic too?
I hear you nice and clear.
All right, cool. First of all, before y'all start, get off your ass and cold call.
Bam.
The book.
Thank you, sir.
Pick up the book. Pick up the book. Get off your ass and cold call. So not only do you need to listen to these great, stimulating podcasts and live streams that my brother has, but you need to get off your ass and cold call. Just wanted to start out with that. So it's Obstacles to Opportunity, the only channel in the world where you can hotwire your mind to your brain and make things happen. All you have to do is have a vision. On my channel, we talk about economic empowerment, how to do it yourself, from real estate, from stock markets, not only investing in the domestic market in North America, but also across the world. And I'm an expat expert, been living overseas for 16 years straight. So it's been a while since I've been in the States. To say the least. So I'm well traveled. Majority of my time I spent in the military. After I got out, did some contracting, still doing contracting, and still doing global investing. And the majority of the time I spent overseas was in Asia. So wanted to hop right into it, what you were just talking about, your question now. Make sure I got the question right. You said somebody was talking about China controlling massive amounts of industries in America, right?
That, but then also they made it seem as if pretty soon they're going to be in a position where they can control the American people as well, which is interesting. And this is the second person I heard that from. I heard this from this week.
Got you. So that is interesting. And so when you break down the ownership of U.S. debt, China holds 1.1 trillion. That's 1.1 trillion in debt. And that's about official debt that they own in America. So they've been buying that up for a considerable long time. Definitely during the 2008 crisis, they actually stimulated not only the markets in America, but also in Europe. And they kept them afloat by paying into their bonds and buying up their debt. So if it actually wasn't for China, America would have crumbled underneath the 2008 crash, along with Europe. So with that being said, they have been buying massive amounts of that. So when you get into the part about real estate and controlling Americans directly, I think China is more intelligent to understand that they can't control Americans that directly. It's an indirect type of, covert and overt type of direction they have to take. I also do think that it's going to put them in a position where Americans will be dependent on China so much so that they can't really retaliate on America because they're not in the position. As you know, majority of American businesses are infused with China to the highest levels. Apple does not produce any semiconductors. Apple does not manufacture any type of products that they actually have. Majority of those come from Asia, whether it's Taiwan and whether it's assembled in China. Majority of its infrastructure, the supply chain, is in Asia. So the designing comes from America, but the actual build out comes from Asia. So that goes from the ground up. So, I mean, they're so infused. Even when the Trump tried to do the trade war against China, majority of the companies behind closed doors and off the mainstream, of course, protested because their businesses could not stay afloat with those type of trade embargoes and bans on particular companies, from Huawei and 5G to, like I said, massive amounts of companies like IBM getting their semiconductors from Asia and then getting them manufactured in places like China. So that's kind of the position that China has leveraged and placed in America, placed itself in also.
Okay, so as far as, they were making it seem as if socially,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could say that is done via applications like TikTok and ByteDance. I mean,
Okay.
which is owned, of course, by Chinese corporations, and of course, no different than Europeans influencing other different media in Africa, right? For the longest, Africa's image has been one of impoverishment, always been from a charitable stance point of view, right? So this same type of soft power and influence is going to be implemented in the direction of China, using it in its favor also, no different than other countries, mostly Europeans, use it in their favor throughout the world.
Okay, so let's jump into what Africa can learn from China.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In fact, let's
So,
deal with Nigeria. Okay, let's. In fact, I kind of want to expand this and
yeah.
not just focus solely on China, but let's look at like a Singapore. Let's look at
Okay.
like a Dubai. All right.
Mhm.
At one time, Dubai was just a desert, and look at it now. Meanwhile, you have certain countries in Africa that seems like they're regressing, or it seems like African countries aren't progressing on the same level as many of these Asian countries or Middle Eastern countries who were at one point in time were doing worse than we'll say in Nigeria. But now look at them now. From understanding, Nigeria used to have to lend money to Saudi Arabia. But look at Saudi Arabia now and look at Nigeria. What can we learn from China, Africa?
So, this is the perfect thing. So, I definitely want people to understand this primary thing. There's a great entrepreneur, venture capitalist. His name is Eric Lee. And that's Eric, and then X is his middle name, and the last name is Li, right? And he's famous for his TED Talks talking about two different political systems. And then he actually breaks down in detail the Chinese political system. Most people don't know it, right? They just think dictatorship or communism and more of a Soviet type of, projection onto it. Can you hear me?
I hear you just fine.
Okay, got you. So, with that being said, what China can learn from it, and what he says the world can, not only Africa, can learn from China, is that what China does is not exportable, unlike Europeans, of course, trying to converge the rest of the world to democracy and capitalism, their political and economic systems. But more so is that there is an alternative. And that is the primary point that he attempts to drill home. That is it up to every country in the world, all groups of people, whatever they find themselves, to figure out their own political and economic systems that are complementary to those people's specific development positions, cultural, and history. So that is the alternative or exportable thing that Africa can learn. Because unlike majority of those other places, when you're talking about going to Latin America, you're talking about going to all these other different countries in Africa that accepted democracy, accepted the same form of capitalism like Europeans, right? They're all failing.
Right.
And the only shining star basically in the East is China. Now, you do have other contestants like Singapore, South Korea, right? Japan at one point in time, right?
Mhm.
But nevertheless, the one country that slightly did not do what the international, because it's not really an international court that says anything, it's mostly European countries, right? The only one to follow its own path and chart its own political and economic system has been China the whole time.
Mhm.
And so that is the exportable lesson that Africa can learn. Africa must create its own economic and political system, not one that is a copy and paste from Europe or copy and paste from America. It's not going to work. It has not worked, and it still does not. And it fails the countries that they live in. They have to actually do the legwork. And there's massive amounts of gains to learn. If anything, also, this is the second lesson. So the first one was that there's an alternative. You don't have to do what Europeans do, right? We don't have to, we got a constitution just like they got a constitution, right?
Right.
Actually, most of them were there writing out our constitution for us, right? So
Right.
it's the copy and paste nation. You can't copy and paste your nation, right? So that's number one. There's an alternative and it works. And number two is the Europeans are not Thanos.
Right.
That's the biggest lesson, I think. So for people to be impoverished like Asia was, specifically China, and to be where they are today in a mere 70 years, that's in a one generation's lifetime. And that is a massive lesson that if Africans cannot listen to the headlines of what Europeans say and BBC, CBNS, right? They tell you, oh, Africa's in debt, the economic debt trap, right? That's what you hear a lot, right? But I just told you America is in debt at 1.1 trillion, right? Trillion. Africa is at a mere, I think it was last time, 250 billion to China to 1.1 trillion. That's a difference, right? Big difference. And the companies are controlled, or real estate is controlled more direct in America, because America allows, everybody from outside to come and purchase land, buildings, whether they're infrastructure, whether they're commercial spaces, it doesn't matter. So those are the two most valuable lessons that Africa can learn from China specifically, is that there is an alternative, and Europeans are not Thanos. They don't create the world. They don't create the rules. They don't create what you should do, how you should operate. You need to chart that out for yourself. Because on every level of social, political, and economics that you see China operating on, you ask any European institution or organization or individual, and they'll tell you what, Dynas, what they do is wrong, right? That's what they'll tell you, Dynas. Their political system is wrong. It lacks accountability in the free market, right? Their economics is wrong. It's not the free market. It doesn't allow for direct investments. That's the economics. They'll tell you the political system is wrong. They don't have elections, right? They'll tell you the communication is wrong. They'll tell you that they don't have the freedom press. They'll tell you everything. But when you go to China and you go to places that 30 years ago used to be a rundown shack swamp with mud huts and steel containers, barely people living and making rations, to a built out, technologically advanced city with skyscrapers. Look at the end result. I don't need to hear about what you say about the process. I'm looking at the end result, and they get results. That's undeniable. And a lot of people are not exposed to China because they accept those preconceived notions about China's taking over Africa. I highly doubt that. That is not even, go ahead.
No. Finish your statement, then we'll get into the China's taking over Africa.
No. All right, that's a good segue. So go ahead and just enter into.
Okay, so the China, the argument or the rebuttal. Well, China's taking over Africa. Okay, let's hey, let's consider Africa. Well, China controls Africa. Well, I'm gonna go with it. Well, I'm gonna go to Africa when the Chinese controls Africa. Can you break that down or unpackage that argument?
Yeah. Most definitely. All right. So let's take it for a basic level, right? On a basic level, when most people move throughout Africa, most of them are functioning off of IMF banking rules that are regulated from European organizations, one being the IMF, right? Most of their banks operate based off of those systems, and the currencies, some African countries, are solely based from currencies that originate from France per se, right? As an example. That is in more control of Africans than a port or a said railway system, one of them, right? Mm-hmm. In the last 20 years, China has built more roads than Europeans have built in the last 400 years in Africa. That is a big difference. When Europeans were giving Africa extensive debt, they were still giving them dirt roads at the end of the day. Net, it was almost like Haiti, right? Haiti got the money. Haiti had 7 houses built after
after the hurricane, I think it was, or earthquake.
It was the earthquake. So after the earthquake, there were 7 buildings, right? Billions of dollars. But where did it go, right? And the same thing has been happening for massive amounts of times. And the debt has not been restructured. It has not been forgiven. But just alone from 2019 to 2021, more than well over 34 different types of projects across Africa in debt services to Africa from China have been restructured. Majority of all of them have been restructured versus collection, versus foreclosure, right? Versus confiscation. So once again, even when Asian countries deal with China, they say they prefer to deal with China. Why? Because one, they have the technology, they have the expertise, right? And they're not trying to control the internal politics of said country. When you said China's taking over Africa, it's funny how France can assassinate nearly 40 to 44 African leaders since the 1960s.
Mm-hmm.
But China hasn't assassinated one. But some reason, China's taking over Africa.
Right.
There's how many European bases in Africa? But somehow, China, with one in Djibouti, is taking over the entire continent. It's not a valid, I mean, I understand people's position. I'm not saying that our best friend opened up the doors. But what I am saying is that the different relationship is a big difference. It's a big difference on how they engage with Africa. Africa needs infrastructure. Africa needs industrialization. Africa needs a real hard fundamental work. And what Europeans got is abstract ideas for Africans that have bore no fruits from their labor.
Right.
Now deal with an alternative nation that will deal strictly on terms of they're doing what's best for their people in their best interest, no doubt. And then Africans can deal with them on the same terms. They're dealing with them on the terms of their own people, which would be African people or people of a particular African nation. So I hope I answered the question about is they taking over or not?
Right.
Come on.
Because that's the number one rebuttal when we, tell people or encourage people to engage Africa, well, Africa is being taken over, the Chinese own Africa.
Yeah, I heard that many times. But I think it's a thing that, sometimes Black people tend to lack. It's not about feelings and emotions. It's about respecting somebody's ability to, Chinese people got mollywopped by the British. They got mollywopped by America. They got disrespected. It's called 100 years of humiliation. And they got beat up and they were damn near dying. It was a real struggle, for real. But that's been out throughout their history. They had many rebellions. And, for them to come where they were now, you could sit back and complain about, oh man, they taking over. It's because you're not taking over then.
Right.
But if that be the case, what can you learn from it? So I'm trying to actually examine it and understand what we can learn from it. The Art of War says, if you don't understand yourself and you understand your enemy, then you could lose. For every battle you win, you lose another battle. If you don't understand yourself and your enemy, then you lose every battle. But if you understand your enemy and you understand yourself, then that's when you can win. So, of course, I'm paraphrasing, but nevertheless, what it was saying is that we must understand other groups of people, and not with criticism and criticization and hatred. It's to understand, how did they make that work? How could a country that was as poor as us end up standing on its 2 feet to one of the most strongest unions?
Poorer at one time.
Yes, I definitely would say that. So how did they do it? Of course, our history is vastly different, and there's massive amounts of complexities and nuances, right? I'm not saying that we can copy and paste China neither. And they say that specifically. But what we can do is sit back and ask the question, how do we do this hard lifting, and how do we figure out a way forward? And are these people that we can work with versus the massive amounts of Europeans that we always work with? We work with the Arabs, right? That's obviously, they took all North Africa, and we're completely fine with that. So with that being said, we work with them. We got the AU, right? Or we got the Pan-African Union also. We got all these different types of forms of organizations with other groups. But for some reason, when it comes to China, we get all emotional because some have been swayed by the media. But use your mind, see the results, go to China, see the results of China, and then you'll actually start to think vastly different. and try to understand what we can learn from it versus what we can get emotional about.
Everyone, please hit that like button again. Please hit the like button. In the chat room, I placed the link. Click on that link and you could come on and add to the conversation. Again, click on the link that's in the chat room if you'll like the StreamYard link, if you'd like to add to the convo. Also, tour Sierra Leone. Hit me up November 29th to December 7th. Those are the tentative dates for right now. They haven't officially announced when the citizenship ceremony is going to be. But so that the dates are subject to change. But if you're interested in enrolling, I'm now taking deposits so you can secure your position because there are going to be limited seats available. I can't take everyone. So again, if you're interested in enrolling, hit me up so I can get you the details and we can get you locked in, everyone. We're going to have an awesome time. Awesome time in Sierra Leone. So I would like for you guys to come and enjoy the nature beauty. And we're going to be doing yoga on River Number 2 and all the other beaches in Sierra Leone. I'm bringing in Zinga Oniso-Wosan with me, and she is an awesome yoga teacher, so yoga instructor. So come and enjoy Sierra Leone with us and get some yoga in with us. So let's see here. We got brother Caesar on. Caesar, go ahead.
Hey guys, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Got brother Caesar on. Caesar, go ahead. Caesar, you gotta turn off the playback, brother.
All right, yeah, I just did. All right,
Okay.
yeah, I was just gonna say that I took Chinese in high school, and my teacher, she like got educated in Germany, came to the U.S., and then after her parents got sick, she had to move back to China. And I was hearing the president of Ghana say something similar, that a lot of the funds that China used to rebuild itself came from citizens moving back. I know a lot of Africans that like when they got sent over here by their governments to get educated, like Howard and stuff like that in the 70s and 80s, they just didn't go back.
Wow.
You know, they sent their best and brightest. That's what my mom was telling me. We're Nigerian. They sent their best and brightest to all these schools over here, and they just didn't come back, a lot of them, for one reason or another. They settled down. While China, with that one-child policy, I guess, there's not that many brothers and sisters. You have to come back. So I just think that's one way we could copy them, by making sure we keep the homeland in mind and don't leave and never come back. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that, Sean?
Agreed.
Okay. I agree as well. Caesar, anything else you'd like to add to the convo?
No, that was it. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Thank you for coming. So guys, we'll take a couple more callers.
Yeah, most definitely. I agree with that. Definitely. The brain drain, that's what people say.
But it seems as if, like he mentioned indirectly, that Chinese have this sense of pride in China, but many Africans don't, when it comes to their country, individual countries don't match that sense of pride. Like, why is that?
Well,
Sean, what do you think?
Multiple reasons, lack of understanding the history, like I just said, know yourself, right? Embarrassment, many different reasons, right? I remember one guy, I forgot who it was, but he was like, hey man, he was like, you fighting for them people who come here. He was like, they the biggest traitors of their country because they left. But necessarily of it, there's multiple reasons why, right? But the net of it is, people from China do have a strong sense of history. Remember, they have 5,000 years, 5,000 years. They're trying to rejuvenate. They took the loss that they had on the chin. They did say we took an L, and they want to rejuvenate. They want to rejuvenate their identity. But I think, if you read a book by Martin Jackwell, it's called When China Rules the World. And of course, he was just saying that, as a title to spike people's interest. But anyways, what the book really points at is that, China is a civilization nation. It's not really a nation, but it's a civilization nation. And throughout their history, they've seen themselves as the center of the world, not necessarily trying to convert or converge the rest of the world to be like them. They think they're unique in their own right, and therefore no one can be like them. So they have this unique sense of pride and nationalism that is starting to build up, or patriotism, which most people would like to call instead of nationalism. But nevertheless, this patriotism and this rejuvenation of their culture. It was Xi Jinping who just said recently at the 100-year anniversary of CCP that, after 100 years of degradation, the Chinese people finally have stood up for themselves and put themselves on their feet and have rejuvenated a long, 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 long time of humiliation, losses, and suffering.
Brother Saigon, go ahead. You got to mute yourself.
Can you guys hear me? Good?
Yeah, we hear you now. We hear you now. Go ahead.
You.
All right, awesome. Thanks for having me on. So a couple of things from the top. Leadership. Leadership is the key. Without a strong leadership like Xi Jinping, China wouldn't be what it is today. Not even close. So especially Nigeria or any other African country, they need a strong man. I'm not talking about a military guy, if that's what it takes, but the current military guy is just bullshit. Sorry, but it's not able to do his job properly, even though with that level of training. So we need somebody that is a strong leadership, understand cross-cultural difference, because that's huge. One of the things China is able to do successfully is being able to leverage all their capabilities across the globe and able to do business with different part of the world, be able to bring the business home. That is not an easy thing to do if you have a terrible leadership. If you don't have people and if you notice, most of the people that bring the business, they have some kind of tie back to the government, right, or the China bank of some sort, right? The Belt and Road Initiative, that's one thing they've been able to leverage successfully, right? Especially in African continent, right? Sure, some African continents don't have the kind of money to help each other, but that doesn't mean we can't come together, right? We have the regional economics, economic union. You have ECOWAS and the rest, right? If this country comes together, right, and increase the trade between themselves, that will help improve the continent, right? It's something as simple as Ghana and Nigeria be able to trade successfully without, one thing or the other coming into play, right? So that's that leadership right there, that structure, strong leadership. The way I see China, right, when the order comes from the top, right, it literally from the top to the bottom. It just goes straight down, right? Everybody does what they're supposed to do, and if you do it, all the way to the province, right, to the village, chairman, whatever, they do have incentives too, because once they do their job effectively, they get rewarded. China actually reward their workers, their leaders, their sub-regional leaders. They actually get rewarded when they complete a specific task. Even like this COVID, right? This COVID-19, every region that successfully get all its people to be vaccinated get rewarded. And if you can't do that successfully, they will remove you and put somebody else in. So we need strong leadership. Absolutely.
You want to respond to that, Sean?
No. I just want to add to it.
Okay.
Let's say we accept the notion of having strong leaders. Got you. So I also want to add to it is that, can you hear that static? Can you hit the mute real quick?
No,
Saigon?
it's the background noise on Saigon. I don't know if he's in a car, the AC is blowing, but it's not. Well, go ahead.
Okay, got you.
I just made myself.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. All right, thanks, man. So yeah, valid point. Now we hear this point many times. You heard this many times in Africa, right, Dynast?
Right.
Okay. So now we have to deal with this. I told you earlier, 44 African leaders have been killed by France alone, right?
Right.
That's what happens to African leaders. Now, what do we do about it? Now, Dynas, I want you to go comb the internet.
Okay.
And I want you to see if you could find somewhere a video, somebody from China, saying that the moment Xi Jinping says X, Y, and Z, he's going to get killed. I want to see the people putting out there in the freeways, in the airways, that if my leader says this, he will be killed.
Right,
you understand what I'm saying?
I understand. I completely understand what you're saying.
That's us.
Got you.
Now, you don't hear it. If they place hands on him, we will ride out on an entire nation. You don't hear that. What you hear is, oh, he better watch what he say.
You better watch what he say.
He about to get toughened up.
The economic hitmen are coming. The economic hitmen.
And that's the mentality of the people. The issue is no longer, or also the issue is African people, period.
Mm-hmm.
We always let it ourselves off the hook. One minute it's power to the people, and the next minute is, well, we can't do nothing because the leaders. It's only about a couple of them. Now, if you look at China's history, they did not always have great leaders. If you know about their history, you can learn about the RMT. The RMT, that whole battalion, that whole group was in the pockets of the British. They were fighting the CCP and other different revolutionaries and rebels and the people. They were killing them in numbers. And they were doing it for favors from the British, from America and Europe. They had their sellouts too. Africans ain't special. We ain't the only people who got sellouts. They had massive amounts of sellouts. They had to go to war with them people. And that's what the people had to do. 50 people came in the room and created the CCP. And it was from the people, not leaders. They weren't leaders. They weren't endowed with that. They weren't we make an assumption that these systems or institutions or organizations just exist. And there's just leaders there. No, they originate from the grass. They originate from the people themselves. People decide to make a choice to rebel. But that's throughout Chinese history also. They rebelled on emperors. Dynasties were overthrown when they did not meet the requirement of what the people wanted. The people said, damn this, I'm tired of living in degradation and suffering. I'm taking it to the dynasty. That's in their history throughout all types of wars, right? So once again, we have to go to the people on that. We got it, the leaders. But stop calling them leaders then. If they're sellouts so much, stop calling them that. And start building up and start planning. You have to fight for your country, bro. Nobody's going to save you. That's the real life of this world. Nobody's going to save Africa. Nobody's going to save African people. This ain't no goddamn freaking, UN or WTO. None of that stuff is real. You have to save yourself in this world. So that's the biggest ticket that I would add also with it. You can't let that slide. Now, I'll go into also, China did not have money, Dynas. They were poor, right?
Right.
So they didn't have money, and now they just got money. Like, you see what I'm saying? They had to do something, and they had to become productive. If you go back 40, 50 years ago, bro, you will see old Chinese people working in a steel mill, producing steel to be the number one producers of steel in the entire world. And they were still getting fractions on the penny for the steel that they produced, but they were still pushing forward. You go back to their history, you'll see them, putting in that work. Now, we put in our slave work, we just put it in underneath the control of other people. We never put in that slave work for ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the sacrifice they made. And now they leverage their numbers, they leverage productivity, and then in the long run, their money's still not powerful, right? But they've been able to leverage those positions of productivity. They've been able to leverage those numbers. They've been able to organize. And then it's not about Xi Jinping, it's about Mao. Mao unified China. Deng gave them economic power. And then Xi will give them political power or global power or just like military power. That's the narrative that's coming from their country, not me projecting it onto them. So everybody has to play their role. But the primary thing is, okay, we accept that the leaders are corrupt. Okay, yeah, all right, got it. Now, what are we going to do about it? And if the people are not going to do nothing about it, you could do something about it, but watch this, Dynast. It has to be effective.
Right.
That's all. You have to win. If you don't win, then yeah, you're stuck back into the same place. So we have to change that and figure out how do we win instead of how keep losing. You know, like I said, other countries, even China had that themselves. They had sellouts. They had people that sided with the British. They had people trying to kill them and pump opium drugs into China. Opium War I, Opium War II. There was Chinese people that sided with Britain. There were people who sided with the Portugal.
Hey, there's a good movie that talks about that called Bodyguards and Assassins on Netflix.
Yeah, and they just won. That's the difference. Right. So when it comes to us, and then it comes to Africa, and the Africans, they got to win. They got to stop losing. That's it.
Just to add to what Obstacle just said, the thing about China, like you said, they didn't have money, but they were smart, and they have insane work ethics. Insane work ethic, just like what you said. I mean, these people are working 18, 19 hours, getting paid nothing, right? And when it goes back to, what I said earlier about having a strong leadership. This is what happens when you have a strong leadership. A strong leadership leads to strong policy. A strong policy or law leads, you're able to create strong enforcement. And strong enforcement carries penalties and punishment for breaking those laws, right? When you get those four in place, right? That's what China did to begin with. When they got their institution built up strong enough, of course, the military, that's what they're focusing. We got to pay attention to what China is doing because they are even still doing as we speak. Right now they're focusing all their effort on building their military. Right? Before they focus their effort on building their economy. So they pick up one section at a time, which is very strategic, right? They play the small guy in the beginning, right? They open their borders up, right? They say, okay, yeah, let all the Europeans come in, right? We got the labor force, of course, 1 billion people. Who provide the labor force, right? All we're asking in return is that you train our people. And this is very simple. It's just that we don't have the leadership to do it. You train our people, and we ask that you buy from us. We have natural resources. Buy, say 30% of your finished product should contain 30% of natural resources. Locally sourced resources, right? We incentivize you to come in. So you have company like Apple going in there, GM going in there, all these companies going in there, pouring all this money, build the infrastructure. China literally did this with almost zero expenditure. You wonder why they have so much foreign reserve. Why? Did they just print dollars and put it on their bank? No. They collected that money. They collected that tax. They collected that tariff. Then let them come in and take the what resources they have abundant, which is the human resources. They have enough of that, right? And on top of that, they turn around and sell them some of these natural resources because it was mandatory that if you want to do business in our country, you have to buy 30 or 40% of your resource that you put on your finished product from us. And on top of that, after they did that, everybody fall into that trap, right? You build your infrastructure now, everything is all good. You're not going to just uproot your infrastructure and leave after you spend billions of dollars, right? Now, what they did next is like, okay, fine. Now, any other foreign company that is coming in, we want you to partner our local company. What they did with the local company, this local company started to be the supplier, right? They created a supply chain. You wonder why they're so strong in supply chain. Because this local company started creating a supply chain. They were the suppliers of these resources to this company, right? They started locally. They started shipping it overseas. They built that supply chain that most companies cannot survive without that supply chain, right? And guess what? Who built the supply chain? The foreign company. Because the foreign company wants to be able to get the resources they need to put in their finished product as soon as possible. They built it for them. In a nutshell, what China did was open up your borders, let people come in, create a policy that they can follow by, which is you need to buy from us, you need to train our people, and you need to partner with a local company, right? And they enforced that. They went ahead and enforced it. You know, if you had a poor leadership that is corrupt, you know, right now, take for instance Nigeria, they have Shell, right? They have Exxon, they have all these big oil companies that are in there. But what we realize is that they not do anything for the community. Instead, they're adding to the problem of the community. Why? Because the leaderships are not there. Instead, they will pocket the money, they will take bribe, corruption, and they will pocket the money. So now my question is the same question Obstacle was asking. How do we change this leadership? Okay, revolution is not going to work, right? We clearly see that with the what was it, incest, whatever they did, incest stuff, right? The government completely killed that. Then on top of that, went after the people that were even part of the program, right? So we clearly know that the people don't have the should I say the willpower and the resources to actually do a strong revolution. So now, what is the next option? This is it's funny because
Hey, say, I want to bring on some other callers. So if you could,
yeah. So the thing that I think since we can do a revolution to kick out the government, I think we just wait. Really, we just wait. That's all we have. We just wait because this was going to happen. All these old people are going to die at some point. They will, and most of these old people are the most corrupt ones. We just wait. It's probably going to take time. Time is the best resources we actually have, right? And it's the most powerful thing on earth. If we wait it out 20 years, right? Not too long, most of these people are going to die, and most of this continent will turn around. That would be my suggestion.
I appreciate it, brother.
Dynast, you wait, hold on. Stop the show.
Go ahead.
You see what I'm talking about? Now, am I the only one but you see what I'm talking about? We got corrupt leaders, so the best thing we can do is just wait. so wait, hold on. Let me get this right. So all the Arabs, they just gonna wait too. All the Europeans, they just gonna wait. Asians gonna wait. Latins gonna wait. Everybody gonna wait until all these old corrupts just die. And then when they die,
the new ones come in.
Yeah, bro. But see, this is what, and remember what he said. He even from the get, I didn't say let's start a revolution, but even from the get, he already marked it off because he said we might get beat up. So we ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do that because that's the defeatist mentality I was talking about, bro. If you go to a Chinese nation or if you go down to even Venezuela right now or Cuba, right? The people is like, yo, we gonna fight it then. We're just gonna have to duel it out. If it come like that, then we ready to go. But they're not gonna be like, hey man, that's not how we do it. We just gonna wait. Maybe all the bad people will die. Is that how the world works, bro? If you just sit around and wait, all the bad people just gonna die, and then after they die, then all the good people shall rise. Come on, man. We need new citizenry. We need new citizens to be indoctrinated to have a little bit more, at least active role, a little bit more agency in their future. That's all. I'm not going to say they have to go to revolution, but what I'm saying is more agency. Take control. Do something. It's your life. You only get it once. Well, maybe more. But what I'm saying is do something. You got to do something about it, bro. Nobody's coming to save you. And the old people just dying off. New people are not being indoctrinated. New people are not being bribed. New people are not being... Come on, man. Go ahead, my brother. Sorry about that.
All right, Bobby, go ahead.
Look, what I just wanted to say is just what you said, you know. Look, most of us in Africans, we are always in this, we have this attitude that the leaders are the problem. You know, what most people don't understand is that, look, the leaders were put in place artificially so that they can extend the benefit that that Europeans have always had. Look,
Right.
say whatever you want. The best strategists are the Europeans. When what is a strategy? I define strategy as putting in place system, procedures, and processes that will advantage you for generations to come. And the Europeans have done that. Yeah. At the end of the liberation wars, when our fathers were able to liberate Africa from whatever it is they did, the Europeans usually say that they gave us independence. If you hear those fathers and mothers that liberated Africa, they say it was a liberation. Yeah. Okay. So what was put in place? Political parties, democracy, they say, and all that stuff. Those structures were put in place. If you look at political parties and democracy, what do we end up with? We end up with 3 major parties, yeah? And then what happens? The European masters still come in. They try to go in through one party. If the party says no, they go through the other one. Just try to extract the benefits that they have always had, yeah? So we are not getting anywhere. Africans had always had the power to make their lives whatever they wanted to, they could have made. The problem is they don't want to take that step. Look at it. Who are the owners of Africa? It is the people. If you look at Martin Luther King, Osajefo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, all the other big leaders, when have they gone to the people and asked the people, what do you want? No. We copy European power system and we are practicing that. And we say we have a president or whatever, a leadership, and those people make the decisions. No. The people are the ones that have to make the decision. We don't need elections. You go throughout the community. People know who they want to represent them in whatever element that we want. We go through a process of elections. Elections are finished, and then there are all kinds of commotion. This person say, I want, that person say, I want. We put people in place. They are not serving our interest. They're serving the interest of the European formal powers. Yeah. Decisions have to be made by Africans. Africans have the power. The problem is we don't want to exercise this. China is the solution. We have to exploit the opportunity that the China is presenting us now to build our infrastructure. When the infrastructure is built, then all with the infrastructure in place, I can't grow our economy. We have to build it, and nobody has the deep pocket to provide the capital resources, and also has the skills and then the speed to implement those infrastructure. They do. We have to capitalize on those. Yeah, with our political system, that the copied political systems that we are practicing. Yeah, look, if you go to
Nah, brother froze up on us.
Again, we should do what is inherent to our culture and what benefits us and what works for us, and not copying somebody else's system and trying to practice something that does not work. Look, I did a calculation over here. If, let's say, we were to take $100 billion, yeah, we take $100 billion. Let me use Ghana as an example. Yeah, we take $100 billion to build up the infrastructure. We have about 30 million people in that country. Yeah, you divide the 100 million over the 100 billion over 30 million people. It comes to something like $333,000 per person. So that would be the burden that we put on each individual. Yeah, you spread that over 25 years per person. That comes to something like 36 cents per person per day. That is something that we can afford. If we can build up the infrastructure in society for the people for 25 years, look, they will have the capability to move up and down much more easily. They will be able to execute whatever they have to do in their day much more easily. They'll be able to generate much more return and be able to pay that debt much, much, much easier. So we shouldn't listen to people who are telling us that, hey, the Chinese are coming over to take over Africa. Nobody eats natural resources. What we should do is, we should put a tariff on our natural resources that we sell out to the rest of the world. Let's say 20%. And that 20% money, we distribute it to all our people across the whole globe. That is the capital that is going to feed money into our economy. Yeah. Look, when Apple produces, says, yeah, production cost has gone up for whatever reason, we need to, give shareholders whatever money. They just increase the price. Yeah. We have to look after our people. We don't have the industrial capacity to produce consumable goods to sell out. And even if we were to do it, we will not be able to. I mean, whom are we going to sell it to? All those things have been done by somebody else. We do not have the capacity to come into market with such high-end products. Yeah. What is our best ticket to compete in the world market? Is the natural resources that we have. Okay, so let's put a tariff on it. Let's give that tariff to our people, put money into their pocket, and we grow our economy. We should think differently how we will run our economy compared to how we think that somebody is running his economy. Our economy is not going to work like the Europeans' economy. No, we have to think totally different about how we are going to grow our economy. That is what we have to do. The gentleman you had on the show, he has said everything. I was actually looking forward that and I under his argument, look, he has said everything. Gentlemen, we have the power, we have the resources, we have everything that we can do. It's only that our mindset, we are thinking in somebody else's shoe. We should think differently. What works for us?
Yes, sir. Brother Bamio, thank you so much for joining us.
Sure.
You want to respond to that?
Man, the brother said it, man. The brother said it, I think he was on point with everything, man. And even if he wasn't, it's good if he, for the next person to add. And then I'll add this just before the other brother came in. And then, for the most part, Dynast, let me ask you something, Dynast. Do you think that Nat Turner had it harder than you, or you got it harder than Nat Turner?
Nat Turner had it harder than me by far.
Then shut up. Shut up and get off your ass and cold call. And that's the same thing with the continent. You ain't have it harder than colonialism. You talking about, wait, hold on. You mean the Europeans that ruled directly over Kenya or Congo, right, were less corrupt than the African leader today? No, that's not. That's not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The system wasn't corrupt then, but what did the people do? The people still did something about it. And so that same fire, that same surge energy, that same energy is just dissipated. And then you have what you had earlier, but I don't blame the brother. It's just information and education that ends up with that type of information. So I understand.
Josie, go ahead.
Greetings, Dynast, and obstacles to opportunities. Been following both of you for a while now. You have great channels.
Thank you.
For me personally, the problem with Africa is not ideas. It's not who we could learn from. There are many people we could learn from. Like you saying, we could learn from China. We could even learn from our enemy, like Europe, how they came together. And then even in Africa, we could learn from white South Africans. They've done certain things. They were evil, they did bad things, but they did certain things in terms of economy because people there had jobs. People in South Africa had jobs during apartheid, so they knew how to put how to put black people to work better than black people are putting each other to work today. And for me, the problem is that there isn't a will. There is no will to uplift ourselves, to get ourselves out of the situation that we are, because there are many ideas. You go to anywhere on a continent, you'll meet someone who'll give you bright ideas. The will isn't there. I think people mentally are wounded. I don't like, and it's hard to like help someone who's wounded mentally. Mentally, that's what I'm seeing. Many people are wounded mentally. Thank you.
All right, brother. Thank you for joining us. All right, Mufasa, go ahead, bro. Mufasa, you gotta mute yourself. All right, going once, going twice. All right, I guess Mufasa got kidnapped. I don't know. All right, survival code. Go ahead, bro. Survival code. Okay. All right. I guess that's another one. All right. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and close out, Sean. Obstacles to opportunities. Anything else you'd like to share in closing, brother?
Yeah. Just in closing, man, what we can learn from, I think the brother made a good point. We can learn from a lot of people, and definitely the willpower. We need to bring it. We need to manufacture it. We need to use platforms like you have to bring that type of level of, communication. It has to have training. It has to have information. It has to come from somewhere. It don't come from the sky. Leaders don't come from the sky. They come from the people. You must organize and create. Out of endiness, the two biggest things, once again, I said at the beginning, was that there are alternatives to the way you can control your destiny as Africans and what Africa can learn. And I mean Africans, because Africa is a land mass. Africans can learn a lot from China in the aspect of there is an alternative. Europeans are not Thanos also. And once we learn those two things, man, I don't know what's going to happen and what's the direction. And Dennis, you ever heard this before? Black people ain't going nowhere, man. We've been here for so long. You never heard nobody say that?
As far as referring to America?
No, like in the world, nobody can never take us out because we survived so long. We always going to be
right.
here.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that.
Nobody, that type of wishful thinking, that's some wishful ass thinking right there. And there's no realization. There's no understanding that this world, groups have came in and groups have become extinct. It's a real thing. We sit back like, ain't nothing gonna happen. We survived slavery and colonialism. Yeah. Maybe we'll make it to the end of time. And I think that's a lie. And I think we need to think long and hard about that because our future literally depends on it. Dr. Amos Wilson, definitely learn from Asia. Once again, we can learn from everybody. But like I said, start to learn from everybody and let's take a step back and think about it. Man, I appreciate everything that you're doing, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Definitely. Sir. I'm going to at least try to get out to one of those things towards brother when I can. Okay. But, definitely rumble in the jungle. But for everybody, please support the brother. Please go ahead and support, get off your ass and cold call, all the different types of books and contents that he's pushing out. Because, it's funny, we talk about this bigger part, like, what can we learn from China, but what we can learn from this brother. And that's hard work and dedication and being a trailblazer. Nobody was a leader until he decided to go to Africa and start making these vlogs, go to Africa, start making these connections. And now, if you see your path right now, you're literally gaining and assisting and facilitating people to gain citizenship, nationality, something that they were denied over 400 to 600 years through subjugation and all sorts of torture and terror. Man, come on, bro. The story is right there. You're looking for a leader. You got one right here. Support him and get off your ass and cold call.
There we go. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. And if you're interested in enrolling to Sierra Leone with us in November, early December, hit me up. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru. Peace.